Now I'm going to, a slight side note. You noticed how we did the first statement, which was the all statement. What was the conclusion over there? We did the all statement. The conclusion was sum, right? Sum x or y. We're talking about all x or y over here, right? Now when we did the sum x or y, what's the conclusion? Conclusion is sum y or x. Does it tell you something? What does it tell you? It tells you that the sentence, that the statement sum x or y is directly interchangeable to sum y or x. So if you're saying all x or y, it also means sum x or y, it also means sum y or x, right? Can you see, can you draw parallels over here? Is it now easier to understand? Right? All x or y, sum y or x, sum x or y, it's the same thing, right? Great. If you could understand that bit perfectly, if you couldn't, do let us know. We'd be very happy to do a reclass on that. All right. Let's look at the third possible statement that you're going to encounter in these questions. This is my favorite statement. No x or y. What does this mean? Of course, this, when we say no x or y, it basically means x and y have absolutely nothing to do with each other, and therefore two disjointed sets is what we're going to get for the representation part of it. For conclusion, what do you think the conclusion is going to be? Well, if no x or y, then quite obviously no y or x. It explains why it is my favorite statement, right? But then let's look at something interesting over here. You remember this, okay? What if you had a statement which said all x are not y? What if you had something that said this? Think about it for a minute. Think about it. Are you thinking along the lines of a sum? Think about this way, all x are not y. Are you thinking we're going to get the sum statement? Think again, think carefully. Are you going the sum way? Don't. Come back. Think about it this way now. What are we saying? We're saying all x are not y. Now visualize this. Visualize a set which is all of x. This is a set which is all of x. Everything that is x is inside this set. Now this set is not y. This set, all of x, is not y. Y and x have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Can you feel this? All x, the entire x, is not y. What do you get? Of course, we are getting two disjointed sets. It's just a fancy way of saying no x or y. Did you understand that part? Right? I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, how is it not sum? Well, it is not sum because sum would be this. When you say not all x or y is when you say sum. That means sum x or y, right? But of course, that's all. It's all understood. It's all obvious. But you're going to remember all x are not y is nothing but the no statement. What is the conclusion going to be? What is the conclusion for this? Of course, the same conclusion, right? All y are not x. Perfect. Uh-oh. All right. Great. So we're through with 3 statements now. We've done the all statement, we've done the sum statement, then we've done the no statement, right? The last statement and the fourth statement, I'm sorry for my handwriting, the fourth statement is the sum or not statement, which looks like this: sum x are not y. Okay, now how are we going to represent it? Think similar. How do we represent the sum statement? We take 2 circles, represent it like this. There's an x and then there's a y, and when we say sum x are not y, which area are we talking about? We're talking about this area. Perfect? Of course. This is the first possible representation to sum x are not y. How else can we represent this? Can we say those x's that fall outside the y region are the x's that are not y? Absolutely, makes sense. Second possible representation for sum x are not y. Can we draw this? Can we draw this? Can we? Sum x are not y? No, we can't, because over here all x's are y, right? So we can't draw this. But remember when we said if sum is all and all is sum, or when I said if sum x are not y, how do we not know if it were all? If all is not y, maybe sum is not y, right? Sum is all is sum. Possible that this scenario might also exist. Did you see what I did there? If both of them are disjointed sets, if all of x are not y, then of course it's true for the sum part of it, right? Now we've got to look at the conclusion part of it. I want you to take a moment and think about what the possible conclusion can be. Okay, take a moment and think about it. Are you thinking about all x are y as a possible conclusion? Can all x be y over here? Of course they're not, because it's not possible for the first representation, it's not possible for the second representation either. Third, most definitely not. Can we say all x are not y is a possible solution for this statement? All x are not y, certainly not for the first one, not for the second one, third one, yes, but then for a conclusion to be perfectly possible, perfectly be called as a conclusion, it has to be true for all 3 representations. Therefore, not a possible conclusion here. Let's look at sum y are not x. Think about sum y are not x. Can you see sum y are not x, how it can possibly be a solution? Let's look at the first representation. Sum y are not x. Yeah, definitely those y's that are not in the shaded region, those y's that are not in the intersecting regions are the y's that are not x. Possible, yes. But now look at the second representations. All the y's are x over here. Then are sum y not x a possible solution in the second representation? No. Right? So I would want you to take a look at all the possible solutions that you can think for in this statement, but then you'd be able to find out that this particular statement, sum x are not y, has absolutely no possible solution. Therefore, no conclusion is going to be the answer over here. This tells you that sum x are y, sum x are not y, can have absolutely no scenario in which these 3 representations can coexist, which leads us to the fact that it is going to have no conclusion at all, right? So we're done with the 4 statements that are going to build up these questions for deductive logic.